Alright, hey guys, this is an Encon Crompton Greaves 48-inch spinner ceiling fan. This is a wooden blade model, and this is probably a slightly later model made in, I want to say, 83 and on. I don't really know exactly the date on this one, but this one is a fairly interesting one. This is the very first Crompton Greaves that I own. And this is another fan that I was given to by Andrew, aka Charles S., along with the plastic Emerson that I tested last a few weeks ago. But is this one's in much better condition. I think this was my favorite fan that I got out of the lot. Um, it's a non-ornate plain one with the regular blade arms that are kind of similar to the Casablanca 20th century blade arms. They're actually reproductions of the Westinghouse Deluxe, those kinds of blade arms. So I thought that was pretty interesting because I didn't even notice that until I got this fan, that they really are basically the exact same as the Westinghouse Deluxe and the 20th century. Um, so this one is kind of interesting in that it is labeled with two tags on top of the motor. It's labeled both Encon Industries and Crompton Greaves. Now, Crompton Greaves made the motors for these, from what I know, but I think Encon made all the blades and the other mounting bits and everything. I'm not too positive on that. Although Crompton Greaves is still in business today, they still make fans, and they're popular in India, which is where they're made. That's where they've been made all this time. This one was made in India, um, and in India you see a lot of them over there from all like generations. One's even older than this, so they were very popular there, obviously, since that's their home country. Um, this one is model number 1200 mm, which, if you know conversion from millimeters to inches, because the US is crazy and doesn't use metric system, 1200 millimeters is equivalent to almost 48 inches. So that's pretty interesting. Now, it's also on the Crompton Greaves label, it says it's type CC 66 or something, CZ 66 or something like that. I'll show it to you up close in a minute, but I just thought that was interesting, that it has like two different quote-unquote model numbers. Also, this one is a slightly later model, as I mentioned, and there's a defining characteristic to that. The canopy, as you can see, is the exact same bell canopy as the lower canopy, so they're identical. The earlier ones had they had the same bell lower canopy, but the upper canopy was stepped. It was kind of almost like a new-tone, the older veranda canopies, but more like geometric and like stepped pattern. Very interesting. Now, this is the first Crompton Greaves I own, but this is not the first one I've seen in person. I saw back in, I think, gosh, 2016 or something like that, maybe 2017. When we went to Virginia, we stayed at a few hotels down in like Lexington, Virginia, I think, and there was another town that we stayed in, I can't remember. Um, and we stayed at a hotel near this little town that had a little bookstore in it that we went to this one time, I guess because we were bored. And there was one of these with metal blades. It was a three-bladed metal blade version. And that one also had the older stepped canopy. And I tried to find the switch to turn that one on, but I couldn't find the switch for it. And also, I didn't want to really turn it on because it was like, I don't think it had been used for a while. And they had stacked books like way up on the shelves, like right around it. So I think that if I had tried to turn it on, it would have flung books everywhere. So pretty good that I didn't find the switch, probably. But yeah, so I don't really think there's much else to say about this. This one is a plain model. The blades are completely plain, as you can probably tell. But Andrew has another set of cane blades that go to these. I might try to get a set of those for this one because I think that would look pretty nice. I always love cane. Yeah, so I guess also I have it wired up to my Fasco 4-speed control, the new old stock one that I got from my restore a few years ago. I found it there. So I'm going to start the fan up. It would probably help if I started in front of the camera. So start it up on low first. So this speed control gives this fan a pretty good low speed. I was originally going to put it on my solid state variable speed control. You know, this one that I use for like all my fans that don't have an internal speed control now, ever since I got that control with the Evergo. But Andrew advised me that these fans aren't the best performers on variable, so I opted to just use a 4-speed. That's about as slow as it goes. It's not a super slow low, but it's decent. It's quiet. It's moving a little bit of a breeze. Oh, I think I did forget to mention the model name for these was High Breeze. This one isn't labeled High Breeze, I don't think, but that's what the general like model name for all of this, the fans with this motor was. I'm gonna turn it up. Let's see. Oh, that's off. Okay. Turn it up to speed 2, which is basically like a medium, I'd say. It's going a bit faster, of course. It is making some bearing noise, but it's not really that bad. Yeah, this isn't a bad speed at all. Moving good air. Alright. We'll do speed 3, which is kind of a medium high, or almost high. It might as well be high. And there's high. Okay, yeah, there is a difference between those two. And yeah, when they say high breeze, they mean high breeze. I mean, these things are known for moving hurricane force winds. But, I mean, this is pretty amazing. I will say, though, I think that the 52-inch and 56-inch models, do they have 56? I don't even know if they have 56-inch models. But the larger models and the ones with metal blades look, I can't speak from experience because I've never seen one of those performing in person, but from the videos I've seen online, I'm pretty sure those outperform this. Although this is still pretty good. I think the wood blades are just, I don't know, in the smaller size. But it is flying, so it's got the high RPMs. Turning it down, and you have to turn it off. So now, turn it off and spin it down. so it's actually better than I thought it was. But the bearings are a little bit stiff. They probably need to be replaced sooner or later. But yeah, so now I'm going to do 0 to high. Just start it right up on from off. So here we go. And it doesn't even really have that much of a startup sound. In fact, the motor is essentially silent on this one, which is very surprising considering spinner motors normally have some sort of like 60 hertz hum or a cyclic buzz, but this one is dead silent. So I'm gonna show you the fan up close now while it's running. Okay, so here it is stationary. So you got this motor with this really interesting design that's straight, slanted, and domed. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Do I have one here? Yeah. Kind of reminds me of this smoke detector design, the Entronic over there. Or the early guards, if you are familiar with that design. It's basically that same design, but with a bunch of slots in the front of it. The ornate ones usually have like a big cap that covers this whole thing, and there's like a little, not really a nose, but like, well, I guess it would be a nose, a little like switch housing nose type thing on the front that sometimes would be covered with a little ornate cap as well. So yeah, and then they had all sorts of different blade styles, as I mentioned. They had cane. I don't know if they had stencil, but I know they had cane. They came in different finishes, white. Yeah, so, and then the top here, there's the canopy, the upper canopy. Now, some of these are reversible. I think there'd be a reverse switch somewhere on the lower canopy here, but this one is not, so no reverse demonstration, unfortunately. Upper canopy, and then the blades are slightly bent upward, almost like a Fasco Charleston, which is kind of interesting. Oh, and it's got the two pinstripes there, which are, I think, vinyl decals, or they may be heat stamped. I can't really tell. They're not like separate pieces like on that one or the Codep down there. But here are the tags on top. Here's the Crompton Greaves one, and it does say High Breeze. So I was wrong about that. So yeah, there you can see. Sweep. Oh, that's Sweep 1200 millimeters. Style type CZ66. So that was the model number, I think. And then the Encon tag here, Encon Industries. So it also says High Breeze, but this one says the model is 1200 mm, which is interesting. So, yeah, that is, I think that's about it for this video. That's the Encon Crompton Greaves High Breeze 48-inch spinner ceiling fan. So thank you guys so much. Thanks to Andrew for giving me this fan, and I will see you guys in the next video.